Hello everyone, I hope you're doing great and you're happy and safe out there. Well, today's lesson is going to be about the passive voice. Okay, so in today's lesson, we're going to talk about the passive voice, and we're going to talk about four main things. So the first thing we're going to start with is what is passive voice, and what is the rule of it, when do we use it, and how do we form it, or how we can transform an active sentence into a passive sentence. Okay, let's start with what is passive voice. So passive voice, we're going to see this example here, and there is a guy here asking, where is my milk? And the milk itself says, I was drank by the cat. Okay, so here it's actually the sentence is used in the passive voice, and then we're going to use this one. The milk was drank by the cat. Okay, and the second example here, we are having a teacher, and this teacher asking students a question here. He says, who broke the glass window? And this student says, we really don't know, teacher. So here, when we don't know who did this certain action, we use the passive voice, and that's why we're going to have the sentence here, the window was broken, because we don't know who did the action. Okay, all right, now let's go to this other example here. We have some examples, and then we have the boy plays football, and this is an active voice or active sentence. And then we have football is played. This is passive sentence or passive voice. So this one is, all the sentences are in simple present. Okay, and this the same sentence we're going, but this time is going to be in simple past. We're going to say the boy played football yesterday. This is the active sentence. And the passive sentence is going to look like this: football was played yesterday. So these sentences are in simple past. Very good. Now let's take this example. The boy plays football, right? Football is played. Now the first sentence, the boy plays football, consists of a subject, a verb, and an object, while the second sentence, football is played, consists of an object and a verb, and there is no subject at all. And this is what we call the passive voice, and it's one of the most important rules of the English language, because it's used frequently in our daily conversations. Okay, now let's go to the second thing. And now we have here, let's get the rule of the passive voice. Okay, so we've got again the same sentence we have seen before. The cat drank the milk. The cat drank the milk. And then we have the passive, which is the milk was drunk. Now let's go to the first one here. We have a subject, and then we have drank, a verb. This is a verb, and then we have the milk is the object of the sentence. Okay, and the verb here is drunk, and it is in the simple past, and this is what we call active voice. Let's go to the second example. We have the milk was drank. So here we have the milk is the object of the active sentence, and then we have verb to be in simple past, which is was, and we have past participle of the verb drank, which is drank. Okay, and this is what we call the passive voice. Okay, so let's have a look at these examples here. We have Samira speaks English. Okay, passive sentence. English is spoken by Samira. Another example, active sentence. Aisha is preparing dinner. Right, passive, dinner is being prepared by Aisha. Okay, another sentence. Ali ate an apple yesterday. Passive sentence. An apple was eaten by Ali yesterday. Okay, another sentence. We have they have found the key. Passive sentence. The key has been found. Alright, so let's get the rule of the passive voice from these examples here. We have first one, we have English is spoken by Samira. Second one, we have dinner is being prepared. An apple was eaten by Ali yesterday. The key has been found. So if you look deeply into these examples here, we start with English, dinner, and apple. The key, this is what we call the object of the active sentence, okay? And then we have plus is being, was, has been. This is verb to be in the tense of the main verb. Plus spoken, prepared, eaten, found. This is what we call the past participle of the main verb, or the verb in the active sentence. And then we have plus by Samira, by Aisha, by Ali, but in the last one we don't have by because we don't know the subject. So we have by the subject, okay? So the rule of the passive voice is object of the active sentence plus verb to be in the tense of the main verb plus past participle plus by the subject if you know the subject. If you don't know the subject, don't put by the subject, okay? And then we have uses of the passive voice. So when do we use the passive voice? Firstly, we use it when we want to focus more on the action of the object than the subject, right? For example, say the window was broken. Secondly, when we don't know who did the action or it's not important to mention it. For example, we have a man was killed yesterday, right? Number three, when the doer of the action is obvious and there is no need to mention it. For example, I was born in 1990 because actually we know the action and it's your mother, okay? It's not your father, obviously. All right, and then we have the last step, which is how we can transform an active sentence into a passive sentence. So in order to do that, we have to follow certain steps. What are they? Let's take this example. Coronavirus kills a lot of people every day. Okay, let's take this as an example, right? The first thing we need to do is identify what is the subject, what is the verb, what is the object. Three things. And then every day is the complement of the sentence. It's not necessary. We put it at the end of the active, of the passive sentence, okay? So the first step here, start the sentence with the object of the active sentence. So what is the object here? It's a lot of people. Very good. So you're going to start with a lot of people. Very good. And don't forget to capitalize always. Very good. Then we have step number 2, add the verb to be and put it in the tense of the main verb. So we're going to have a verb to be here. We're going to put it in the tense of the main verb. The main verb is kills. Kills is in simple present. When we talk about simple present, we're talking about singular or plural, okay? When we talk about singular, verb to be, we can use is or okay? And when we talk about plural, we always use are, okay? So here, a lot of people is plural. It's not singular because we say a lot of people. We're going to use are because it's plural. Very good. And then we have add the past participle of the main verb. The main verb here is kills, okay? Kills, but it's not put into the past participle. We need to put it in the past participle. We're going to say killed, okay? Very good. And number 4, we're going to use add by the subject of the active sentence, okay? And then we have here, and this step actually is optional when we have the subject, or it is noun when we don't know it, we don't put by the subject, okay? So here we have coronavirus and it is noun, and then we need to do by. We need to put by here, by plus subject coronavirus, and then you complete your sentence and put everything there, complement of the sentence. Very good. Now let's go to see some examples here. We have Thomas Edison invented the electric lamp. Okay, so here we need to identify subject, the verb, and then the object. We start with the object here. But please don't forget to capitalize T. The electric lamp was, okay, because the verb is in the past, was invented. And then we have the subject here by Thomas Edison. Very good. Let's go to another example. we have another example here. Brazil organized the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Okay, so subject, verb, object. So we have the 2014 FIFA World Cup was because in the past it was organized by Brazil. Okay, by Brazil, and then you finish your sentence and stop and etc. You go to another example here. Another example, we have Qatar will organize the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Again, we identify subject, verb, object. Start with the object of the active sentence. The 2022 FIFA World Cup will, so we're talking about simple future. Well plus be, well be plus organized, organized plus by plus the subject by Qatar. Okay, and then we get the sentence here. Let's move to the passive voice with modal verbs. So when we talk about passive voice, we can use it with modal verbs such as can, could, may, must, shall, etc. And such, for example, here, he can play football. Okay, so this is a passive sentence, an active sentence. The passive sentence, we have football can be played. Okay, another example, she will write a letter. Well, here is functions as a modal verb, and we can apply the the rule of the modal verbs to the simple future. So this one here is going to be a letter will be written. Okay, so the rule of the modal verb is going to be this one here, object plus modal verb plus be, infinitive, be plus past participle plus by the subject if you have the subject or it is noun. Okay, but when we have he, she, it, we don't use by, she, by, them. Okay, let's go here. And then we have, let's see the rule of all the frequently used tenses in the English, and then we're going to use the same sentence in all these tenses so that you understand or see the difference between these tenses. Now we start with the simple present tense. Okay, we have the sentence, she writes a poem. She is subject, verb, object. Okay, now the passive is a poem is written. Okay, we use is because a poem here or the object is singular. Okay, another example, she writes poems. She is the subject, verb, and this is the object. And this time object is plural, poems. Poems are written. So here we have are, it's plural. Okay, so we use are when we have the object plural. Okay, so the rule of the present simple is object plus or is or are plus past participle plus by subject. Okay, let's move to present continuous. Okay, she's writing a poem. She, subject, is writing verb. Poem is the object. The active sentence, a poem is being written. So here we have a poem is being written. We use is being because it's a poem is singular. Okay, she's writing poems. Subject, verb, object. Object again is plural. Now the passive is poems are being written. Are being because the poems is plural or the object is plural. Okay, so the rule of the present continuous is going to be object plus is being or are being plus past participle plus by the subject, which is always optional if you have the subject. Okay, and if it's noun, it's not a pronoun. Okay, let's go to present perfect. Okay, she has written a poem. She, subject, verb, object. Okay, now we go to the passive. A poem has been written. Has been because it's singular. Okay, she has written 2 poems. She has written 2 poems. Okay, so the passive is gonna look like 2 poems have been written. We use here have been because it's plural. Okay, so we're going to see the rule of the present perfect. We have object plus has been or have been. It depends on the subject whether it is singular or plural. Plus past participle plus by subject. Now let's go to the tense of simple past. Okay, she wrote a poem. Subject, verb, object. Okay, the passive is gonna be a poem was written. Was because singular. Okay, she wrote poems. She, subject, verb, object. Now we have the passive, poems were written. Okay, were because the object is plural. Okay, now the rule of this simple past is object plus was or were plus past participle plus by the subject. Okay, let's go to past continuous. So past continuous, we have she was writing a poem. Subject, verb, object. The passive is a poem was being written. Was being because the object is singular. Again, she was writing poems. She, subject, verb, object. The passive is going to be poems were being written. Were being because poems is plural. Right? Now we have the rule object plus was being or were being plus past participle plus by the subject. Let's go to the past perfect. The sentence we have, she had written a poem. Subject, verb, object. The passive is going to be a poem had been written. Okay, had been singular. Now she had written 2 poems. Okay, subject, verb, object. 2 poems had been written. Okay, use had been plural. Now if you look at the difference between singular plural, there is actually no difference in the past perfect because we use had been, and no change. Okay, so the rule is going to be object plus had been plus past participle of the verb plus by the subject. Let's go to the simple future tense. She will write a poem. It's simple future, it's like the tense of modal verb. It's like the rule of modal verbs, okay? She will write a poem. Okay, subject, verb, object. Now the passive is gonna look like a poem will be written, okay? The second sentence, she will write poems. Okay, subject, verb, object. Now we have passive, poems will be written. Okay, again, we use will be between there is no difference between the plural or the singular form, so we don't change nothing, right? So the rule is going to be again object plus will be plus past participle plus by the subject. Very good. And this actually is the most important tenses in English that are frequently used in the passive voice. Now we shall move to see some exercises or some examples that I took from previous national exams. So in these examples here, we're required to rewrite the sentences beginning with the words given. This is the question. And actually, when they say beginning with the words given, they are giving a word, which is the object. Okay, when they start with the object of the sentence, which means you are asked to put the passive voice rule. Okay, so let's go for the first one. Heavy rain has destroyed many roads in the south of Morocco. Okay, so in this one here we need to firstly identify subject, verb, and object, etc. So we have heavy rain as the subject. Has destroyed here is the verb. Many roads is the object. Okay, that's actually why we started with many roads. In the south of Morocco, it's not important and it's the complement of the sentence, or it's an adverb. Okay, so we're going to start with the object, which is many roads. The verb that we have here has destroyed. It is in the tense of the present perfect. In the present perfect, we need to choose between verb to be, which is has been or have been. So has been if the object is singular, have been if the object is plural. Now here we have many roads. Is it singular or plural? It is plural, so we're going to use have been. Okay. Now we have again to go to the verb destroyed. This is the past participle, destroyed. And then we have by the subject, we have the subject which is heavy rain, by heavy rain, and then you write the complement of the sentence which is in the south of Morocco. Okay, let's go to the second one. They will build 2 boarding schools in our area. Okay, 2 boarding schools in our area. Okay, so I actually advise you to stop the video and try to do the rest yourself. Okay, so they will build 2 boarding schools in our area, and then again we have to identify subject, verb, and the object. Okay, 2 boarding schools. This is the complement of the sentence. So we have 2 boarding schools is the object. Okay, and the verb here we have will, but it's in the simple future. So simple future we said will plus be always. Okay, so we have will be. All right, and then we have the past participle of the verb build, which is built. Okay, and then we have the subject they. We don't know them. Who are they? We don't know, so we're not going to say by them. Okay, so leave it like that, and then you write in our area. Okay. Number 3, in this hotel they serve breakfast at 7 a.m. So what is the subject? It's they, verb serve, breakfast is the object. Okay, in this hotel it's an adverb of place or it's something, and then we have it at 7 a.m. it's a complement or it's an adverb as well. So in this hotel, breakfast, so they start with breakfast, which is the object, breakfast, and the verb serve is in simple present. So simple present we say we use is or are or am. So here we have breakfast, it is singular, we're going to use it. Okay, is what, and then we put serve in the past participle, served. Okay, served, and then complete your sentence at 7 a.m. Don't put by them because you don't know who are they. Okay, let's go to the last one. We have our school has used Masar to process students' marks. Okay, so again we identify subject, verb, object, complement of the sentence. Okay, this is it at the end here, to process students' mark. Okay, so we have Masar is the object, we start with Masar, and then has used is tense is present perfect. Present perfect we said we use has been or have been. Masar is singular, so we're going to use has been. Okay, has been what? Has been, and then we have plus past participle of the verb used, which is used. Okay, and then we have plus the subject, we have it by our school and then you write the complement, which is to process students' marks. Okay, that's nice. Let's go to these examples here, and then please stop the video, try to do them as well. Rewrite the following sentences again. We have Ahmed Sfri wrote La Boîte à Merveille in 1954. So again we have subject, verb, then we have object, and then we have complement of the sentence. Okay, so the sentence is going to be La Boîte à Merveille was, because in the past, was written by Ahmed Sfri in 1954. They will build a big theater in Rabat. They, subject, will build is verb, big theater object, in Rabat is the complement or an adverb. So again, start with the big theater will be built in Rabat. Okay, will be built in Rabat. Okay, schools should give music lessons to children. Schools should give music lessons to children. So where is subject, verb, music lessons, object, to children is the complement. Here we have the verb should, so it's modal verb. We're going to apply the rule of modal verbs. Okay, so music lessons, we're going to say should be given to children by schools. Okay, the last one, we have the government offered financial assistance to small businesses. Okay, so we have, this is the subject, this is the verb offered, financial assistance is the object, to small businesses is the complement of the sentence. Okay, financial assistance, okay, was offered to small businesses by the government. You can also say financial assistance was offered by the government to small businesses. Okay, and this is it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like this video.